Page 480, we're going to look at fourth question on the mid-performance topic 8, mid-topic performance task. We're going to look at part C and talk a little bit about how you can come up with a frequency table of your own based off of some information that they've given you. So first thing on the top of page 480, we have some results of a survey of students entered in a school science fair. So this is how many hours they spent on their projects. So we're going to be coming up with a frequency table for this. So one thing you might consider doing to start out with is putting these numbers in order from least to greatest. You don't have to do that necessarily, but it might be valuable for you. So just crossing the numbers off after we write them down so we can keep track of what we've done and what we haven't done. And then make sure you've counted all the numbers. So we had 10 numbers to start with, and we still have 10 numbers, so that should be in good shape there, getting those in order. And like I said, you don't have to do this to start out with, but it might be beneficial because one thing we have to have is we have to know what the smallest and the biggest numbers are in order to create our frequency table. So in this case, by putting them in order, we can quickly see our biggest number is 22. Our smallest number is 2. If we subtract those, we get 20. The range is 20, basically, we could say. And then if you just add 1 to that, that tells you how many numbers there are. From going from our lowest to our highest number. So this is kind of like possible numbers. Possible numbers from 2 to 22. And you might say, well, how is that? Why are we adding this 1? Well, I'll give you another example for a second here. That's a little simpler. Let's say we're going from 1 to 3. 1 to 3 I can count. I don't even have to subtract it. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 numbers. But if you subtract, you get 2. Okay? So in fact, it always works this way. If you subtract and then add 1, that tells you how many possible numbers you have. So we have 21 possible numbers. We've talked about when you're doing a frequency table, it's kind of nice to have between 3 to 5 groups of numbers. This one on part C, they've already got kind of a framework for me. So they've got this already set up with 5 groups. So right now I've got 21 possible numbers, and I'm trying to split that into 5 groups. Well, 21 divided by 5 does not come out evenly. So I've got a little bit of a problem. We have to find something close to that. So you might say, well, 20, that's close to it. That's really close. That's true. The problem is by saying 20, if we go to 20 possible numbers instead of the 21 we have, we've narrowed our window and we're not going to be able to fit everything in. Okay, so to make sure everything can fit in, we need to make our window bigger. So in this case, I'm trying to find a number close to 21. Since they have 5 groups here, I want it to be divisible by 5. So 25 is going to be the number that I want to use. We're widening our window from 21 possible numbers to 25 possible numbers. So what are we going to have to do? Well, we're going to have to add a few numbers on either end of this. There's a couple ways you can do that. One option is we've added 4 numbers basically. We can add some of them at the beginning and some of them at the end. We can add all of them at the beginning, or we can add all of them at the end. I'm just going to add them all at the end, just to keep it simple here. So 25 possible numbers we're splitting into 5 groups means that there's going to be 5 possible numbers in each group. 5 possible numbers in each group. Alright, so we're going to go on our chart here for our number of hours. We're going to make it be 5 possible numbers. Now I'm going to add all my numbers at the end. So I'm still going to start with my lowest number of 2. I want 5 possible numbers. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gives me 5 possible numbers. 2 through 6. Okay, next group's going to pick up where that one left off at. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Next group picks up where that one left off. So our next group would have to pick up at 12. That would go from 12 through 16. Again, if you count that out, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Next would be from 17 through 21. And then our last group, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So 22 through 26 would be our last group here. At that point, it's just going to be a matter of doing the tallies for how many numbers showed up in each of these groups. And again, we'll talk about in a minute other possible intervals that you might have chosen here as well. So at this point, especially we've got these organized, this should be pretty simple for us at this point. Just doing tally marks for each time we see a number that shows up in each one of these groups. And then each of the tallies, we just put how many tally marks we have as that's our frequency. And then once we get that done, we can make a histogram that goes with that then. So our first interval number of hours was from 2 to 6, and then 7 through 11, and so on. We'll just write those numbers underneath here. And then remember, a histogram, you're not going to have any gaps in between your bars. So we had, well, 3 is our highest frequency, so let's go by 1s for our number of students. You need to make sure you label that. So 2 through 6, we had 2. Next group, we had 3. Next group, we had 2. Next group, we had 2. And last group, we had 1. So that is what our histogram should look like if we did it that way. Like I said, there's other ways we could have split the numbers up. Just a couple other options you have as far as intervals. One option, what the book did, they started at 1, so they went 1 through 5, 6 through 10, 11 through 15, 16 through 20, 21 through 25. Another option would be if you start at 0, you could go 0 through 4, 5 through 9, 10 through 14, 15 through 19, and 20 through 24. Since we're limited we have to stop at 0. So we're either start at 0, start at 1, or start at 2. Those are probably really the 3 best options for us if we're going to do 5 groups of 5. That's probably really the best ways to work this problem out.